What is going on? It's your oh so beloved and glorious MaceValor. Welcome to MVP episode 4. Episode 4, and for those of you that don't know, which now you will, I am streaming while I'm recording this. So to all the people that are live right now, hi, how are you? And to everyone that's listening in the far off future, later today, good old Sunday, welcome. This is the MVP. We talk about anything and everything that's on my mind. We do talk a lot about the gig economy stuff in it as well, being successful, this, that, and the other. But it's mainly just Mace sitting down and being candid with you fine folk. So let's kind of get this bad boy rolling. One of the things that it doesn't irk me, but I've noticed it, is lately people are kind of on this rise about the whole Mary Sue thing. The whole feminazi craze when it comes to Arya Stark being the, spoiler alert, Arya Stark being the one that killed the Night King with the cat's paw dagger. And me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And that's because Game of Thrones, I think that the creators kind of, when they were talking about it, kind of screwed the pooch, because they're like, oh, well, we chose Arya because it would be unexpected. And I was like, well, that's kind of a really shitty excuse. What you should have said is what is kind of true to Game of Thrones. It's a deconstruction of fantasy tropes. And even George has even said, when talking about the books, don't pay too much attention to prophecy. There's a lot of prophecies in the books. Some of them do come to fruition. But at the end of the day, one of the tropes of fantasy is that you'll have this giant buildup with this huge prophecy just for it to finally play out in some form or fashion of what the prophecy says. Game of Thrones kind of goes against the given narrative of that, where prophecy shouldn't be this huge built-up thing. So I'm not, from a narrative perspective, I'm not like upset at the fact that Arya was the one that got the killing blow. I thought it was good for her character arc. I thought it kind of made sense because she has this ever since the events of the Red Wedding, and the episode Baylor, episode 9 in season 1, when her father was beheaded. I mean, like, she's had like this kind of connection with death. And, her whole time with the Faceless Men in Bravos. And it kind of makes sense, narratively speaking, for her character to, like, have this physical altercation with the physical embodiment of death, the Night King. So, personally, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. But I do see that you've kind of built up the Night King to be this huge, grandiose thing, and then he's taken out in one fucking episode. So that part is like, yeah, I was kind of hoping that, originally I was hoping that Winterfell would fall. I was hoping that a lot more characters would die, and that this war would proceed on to King's Landing, to where not only did they have to deal with Queen Bitch Cersei, they would have to deal with her and the invasion of the Night King, like kind of like it would be this huge, grandiose thing. Didn't pan out that way, which is fine. That's kind of what I had my hopes on, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to stress about it. Anyway, so work yesterday. Great transition, Mace. Great transition. Just love how you did that. So work yesterday was popping. It was popping off. Let me get a drag. Work yesterday was popping off, and I'm telling you, man, it was just like my phone was going off like crazy. I only did 3 jobs. The big thing is drive distance, man. It's like when it takes like 30 to 40 minutes to get from one job to the other. It was like, wow, dude. I can't accept every single job. And then the clients that I did have, the first one was awesome. I had to put together a piano for them. It was a digital one, so I basically had to build the frame, and then put the keyboard on top of the frame and then bolt it down. Easy peasy, lemon motherfucking squeezy. No problem there. I was there for like maybe 40 minutes, if that. The issue that I had with the next job is that the client wasn't even there, and I worked there for 3 hours. Did quite a bit of work building all sorts of different furniture and shit for him. He did want me to hang one of his paintings, but he didn't tell me that this painting was massive, and it had this like 1/4 inch thick acrylic on the front of it that for whatever aesthetic reasons or whatever. But this thing was heavy as hell. And it's like, oh shit, well, I wish I would have known that. Sorry, I can't hang the painting for you, but it wasn't a priority for him. So I was like, all right, cool, no worries. So I just took care of all the other shit that he had me do, and then I went on to the next one. And so the next one was supposed to be a moving job, but the lady, it was really hard to kind of get in contact with her. And that's kind of like a thing, especially on same-day clients. Not all of them, they're trying to get something done right now. So on the client end, they go on the website. They don't download the app. So in order for them to like communicate with us, they get either a text notification or an email. If they have to click on a link in the text to go to the website to log in. It's such a pain. It's like I always tell the clients, like, hey, if you don't have the app, download the app. It makes everything so much smoother. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to download the freaking app. I don't know why. So communication's really rough. So the only way I could talk to him is I had to call him, and he wasn't always able to answer the phone. And then he had his internet guy show up, and the internet's like, well, I can't. Like, I need the account holder to be here because he has to do stuff on his end on his phone for his home security and all this, like his home automation or whatever. So I can't even be here without him here. So then, they had to reschedule, and then he wouldn't answer the phone from the Cox guy. So I finally try and get a hold of him. Doesn't answer. He calls me back, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, so the Cox guy's getting everything set up, right? And I'm like, well, no, we were trying to get a hold of you. You wouldn't answer the phone. He can't be here unless you're here, And he's like, oh, well, he was supposed to be here at like noon. And I'm like, you've been gone since like 10. What are you talking about? You've been gone all day. So even though he was supposed to be here earlier, he's trying to say, well, he was supposed to be here at noon, but I had to leave. And it's like, dude, you were gone when I got here. All right. So what are you talking about? All right. So I handled the job for him, and I had a mild panic attack. And this is one time that support actually kind of came through for me. And it's really dumb on my end. So while I'm there, I'm getting hit up by other clients for a couple days in the future. And this one lady, she wanted me for 1 hour to go into her kitchen, remove all the wallpaper in her kitchen, and then to like strip away all the adhesive that's on the wall. And she's like, oh, it's an easy job. It'll only take an hour. And I'm like, well, it's going to take more than an hour to do all that. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to take more than an hour. It's like, well, you seem like a really smart guy. You should be able to figure it out and do it a lot quicker. And I'm like, well, she was an older lady. I don't know why I'm using that, but, and then I was like, well, I can't really help you. If you want it done in an hour, I can't do all of that in 1 hour. And she's like, well, okay, well, redirect me to someone who can. And I'm like, I don't know, what do you mean? And she's like, well, find another tasker for me that can. I'm like, that's not the way it works. Is the client chooses, they find someone, and they choose that person, they talk, and then they confirm the task. And she's like, well, you already took my money. And I'm like, I didn't take your money. It's like, well, it said it accepted my card. And I'm like, that just means that your card is linked to the account. No one ever charged you. She's like, well, you already charged me. I'm like, I haven't even confirmed the task. How can I charge you if I haven't confirmed the job? How can I charge you if I've never invoiced anything for you? What are you talking about, lady? And obviously I was a little bit nicer than that. Like, well, ma'am, the way it works is X, Y, Z. Go fuck yourself. No, I shouldn't say that, but no, sometimes you get clients that just don't get it, and you try your hardest to kind of work with them. But this lady had me on the phone for like 5 minutes. She was talking about how late she was up at night, and then she started talking about some TV show, and it's like, well, I kept trying to say, like, look, I'm in the middle of another job. I can't really help you. She's like, well, you need to get a hold of support. You need to do something on your end. Well, have support call me. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You would have to call support. Well, I don't know how to work support. I don't know how to work this app. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And I'm like, I can cancel the job on my end if it's too difficult for you. You're not going to be charged from me. So do your thing, okay? And I eventually got her off the line, and then I was able to. But what happened was I was trying to cancel that job, but for whatever reason, when I opened the app, it linked me to the other job, the one that I was currently on. So when I canceled, I meant to cancel the job from the crazy lady, but I ended up canceling the job that I was just there doing. What? 3 hours. 3 hours worth of work, and I just canceled the whole task. And I was like, oh no. No. Like I was freaking out. It was bad. Excuse me. So I got a hold of support, which it's rough on the weekends because usually like you can't hear from them. You can't. It's the weekend. You know, their hours are like way shorter than during the week. And they don't use East Coast time. I'm pretty sure they use East Coast time. They use Central. Or West Coast, my bad. I think they use Central time. Anyway, so I get support on the line, and my particular emergency isn't listed in whatever number to press. So the automated system said, well, you're not experiencing an emergency. Goodbye. And so I called him again, and I just chose one of the whatever fucking responses. Like, yeah, I need to expense something, or client damages or something like that. I just clicked whatever button that would let me talk to someone. Told the lady the situation, like, look, I've been here. You can see I've taken pictures. I accidentally canceled the task. I am so sorry. Is there any way you can give me a hand with this? So they reissued the task out, and I was able to finalize it out. But man, I was like, my heart was going. I was like, dude, no, are you kidding me? Did I just do that? Did I just cancel the job that I just did here? Oh man, it was. Oh, but thankfully, oh man, I am so happy that we got that situated, because that would have been so. Oh man, like I've heard some horror stories when it comes to support, and that's not just for TaskRabbit, but that's for the gig economy as a whole. Obviously, the worst is Handy, and it's like I still get people talking about how bad Handy is. That's never going to go away. Handy is just, it's bottom tier. It's dog trash. It's garbaggio on fire, launched into the fucking sun. Like, it's bad, dude. I'm telling you, Handy's bad overall. I can't believe they're actually still in business. How have they not been sued? I think that the independent contract that's working with them, because if you actually read the contract when you join up with Handy, you're kind of like willingly giving away a lot of rights to anything. Handy's just the worst culprit overall. Same with Tackle, and it's a lot of those flat rate ones, and that's because this kind of lead me into my next job, is people undervalue work. They devalue any kind of work, period. And that, you know, just like I said, that lady thought that job, that a 3.5 hour job, prospectively, would take only an hour. So my next job that I got, instead of doing the moving job, because I couldn't get a hold of the lady, we kind of were going back and forth, but she hired me like 2 times for the same job, thinking I was different people. And I'm like, what? And I ended up not doing that moving job with her, because she just couldn't get things figured out on her end. And I'm like, that's one headache I'm not going to deal with. And I was talking with her on the phone, and she was all frantic, and it's like, look, I want to help you out, but you're kind of making my metrics bad by hiring me so many times. So yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it. Plus, it was way on the other end of town, and it's like, I've got other shit to do. So I didn't do that one. But then there's a TV mounting one, and she wanted me to mount to her TV, and she wanted me to hang up curtain rods, a mirror, and some pictures and shit. So like maybe hour and a half, 2 hours worth of shit, right? Apparently she only wanted me there for 1 hour because of, quote, how expensive it is. But I didn't know that until the end. So I'm there, and just the workspace, like, it was so, like, there are good clients and there are bad clients, and this was just like a bad client. Like, my workspace alone, I had to move a bunch of shit that she had in the way, and I had to move it all out the way just to kind of get to over where the TV was. And I look at her mount, and she's like, oh, the mount's right here. And I'm like, oh, so where's all the screws and stuff for it? She's like, oh, they're in that baggie. I get this baggie. They're like these little 1.5 inch long fucking drywall screws, or something to that effect. And I was like, where are the lag bolts for this? And she's like, oh, I don't know what those are, but those are the screws that were held into it last time. And I'm like, I can't put it up with these things. Drywall screws, like really small ones too, not like they have. No, I'm not putting these up. And I kept trying to explain to her, the way it works is that you get the lag bolts, you drill them into the studs, and that's going to hold the TV up. These things aren't going to work, and I'm not going to risk it. It's too much of a liability on my end. I'm going to do this properly. I don't take shortcuts. I don't half-ass shit. I always try to do things appropriately the first time because my hands are on it. I'm tied to it. I don't want to take the liability of doing things wrong or anything like that. I'm not saying that I'm this perfect handyman or anything like that. Yeah, there are sometimes you have to change and adapt. But for something that is simple as mounting a TV, give me the fucking lag bolts. No studs? Fine. We'll get some snap toggles. We'll figure something out, but we're going to do this properly. We're not going to half-ass this shit. And we're not going to jerry-rig it however the hell you had it. So on the back of her mount, whoever mounted this TV before, they drilled holes for these screws to go in. These weren't factory screws. And I even showed her that. It's like someone drilled holes in the back of this thing. So I don't know why they did that. And then, I'm trying to, talk to her about this, and, we need the lag bolts. If I don't have the lag bolts, I can't mount the TV. And it's not really something I carry with me, because usually when you mount a TV, they have those fucking bolts with them. Maybe I should. Anyway, so I'm talking with her, and she just clams up, doesn't say anything. And I'm like, unless we have those, I don't know what you want to do. Do you want me to go hang the curtains, or do you want me to do something else while I'm here? And she's like, well, I want the TV up. And I'm like, can't put the TV up unless we have the bolts. And finally I'm like, you know what? Let me check my truck. I don't ever carry them, but I do hold on to a lot of stuff. So let me go check my truck, see if I can have something that'll work. Lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, I had exactly 4 of them. Exactly 4 of 13 millimeter? Was that 1/4 inch? Fucking lag bolts. Well, thank you for that. That was magical. So I was like, all right, fine. I got him. Let's do this. So I get down there, take care of business, man. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, thankfully I was able to do it, but so not only I had to move all this stuff while I was there that was in the way of where the TV was going, because she just, couldn't be fucked with doing it before I got there. So that added on time. And then looking for the lag bolts out of all of the shit that I had in the back, that took time as well. And then her mount, which was old and the fucking, it wasn't one of the ones with the hooks where you mount the TV on and then you bring it down and hook and then you kind of secure it into place. It was this weird swivel one, and there was a little notch, so you'd rest it on the notch and then push in on the bottom, and then anyway, so I'm doing this fucking TV. And I'm screwing everything in, and I'm trying to undo it so I can get the faceplate off, so I can put the faceplate on the back of the TV. That way I can lift it and mount it on. And that took forever, because all the fucking pieces were rusted out and shit. All the bolts were rusted. Where did you get this thing? Where did you find this TV mount in a landfill? Didn't say that, obviously. So that took time as well. So by the time I finally was able to get everything done and mount the TV up, it was an hour. It took an hour. And so I was like, all right, you want me to get started what do you want me to get started next? The mirror or the curtains? And I was like, so everything's supposed to be going? And she's like, well, what time are we at now? And I was like, well, it's an hour. And an hour? Well, I don't really want to do anything else. I'm like, how did they charge you? How do we charge? And it's well, it's an hour minimum, and then it's 15-minute increments after that. And so she was like, no, let's just not do it now. Let's just not do it anymore. Let's just, because it's so expensive. I just thought that I can get all this done in 1 hour. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, if things would have been a little, if I would have showed up, you had the lag bolts, your TV mount wasn't rusted to hell, so I could actually work on it and put it together. If you didn't have all this bullshit in front of where your TV's going to be and have me figure out where in your apartment there's hardly any space here to begin with because of all the furniture and stuff you got. If it wasn't for all these other factors, yeah, I could have done everything within an hour. I like to think I'm pretty quick with this stuff. But no, it's I had to deal with XYZ, and I'm sorry, but that's just kind of how things went. So, it's I used to get a lot of clients, right? I used to get a lot of clients when my rates were cheaper. My schedule was always booked when I was cheaper. When I started increasing my rate, I got fewer clients. But the clients that I did get were a lot better. And that's kind of a big thing for me. It's I can do, it used to be I would have to do several different jobs a day just to get, my thing, it's I need to make at least $100 a day. I need to make at least $100 a day, and then I'll hit some good metrics for my personal level of success on the platform. So I would have to do several jobs a day, several small jobs a day. Now I can get away with doing one job. One job, I could be there for 2.5, 3 hours, or however long. And I can either meet that threshold or get close to it. So that's why I don't lower my rates anymore. I kind of keep them where they're at, because even though I'm not working as much as I used to, I'm making more money than I used to. I'm not as busy. I'm still busy, but it's just more freeing. So it's kind of like you take your time on the platform, you get a rapport, you get your metrics up, you get those reviews, you get the number of tasks completed in whatever category. Those numbers go up, and then you're going to get hired more in the future. So even though there are people that are cheaper than me, when you look at me, let's mount a TV. Oh, he's done 57 of these, and he's like $40 an hour, which includes TaskRabbit's fucking cut, to mount a TV. But he's got great reviews, wonderful reviews. And then there's another guy, it's $23 an hour. It's like almost half the price. And, on top of that, he has no reviews. He's never done it before, and it says new tasker, but a great value. What are you going to do? Are you going to waste your money on this, that, or the other? And I was talking to the lady, too, when I was, she was talking about how expensive it was. And I'm like, actually, this is cheap. And she's like, how is this cheap? It's $40 an hour just to mount a TV. It seems pretty expensive to me. And I was like, I've worked on other platforms, that do TV mounting, like as a specialty, like Pulse and Handy, Tackle. To mount your TV for $40 is a steal, because if you would have gone with one of the other ones in the area, at least $150. So, yeah, you did pretty good, actually. I got a feeling like maybe she'd write a bad review because of it, but, like, who cares? I know in that situation that I didn't do anything bad. I knocked it out like a champ. It just sucks that you get clients that, you're going to get clients that are bad. You're going to get clients that just don't get it. You're going to get clients that actually make it harder for you to do your job. They kind of box you in. So the best way to be successful on the platform is to acknowledge the fact that that's going to happen and then roll with it. Kind of run with it. Just go with it, like adapt to it. There are some clients where I can't stand being there. I just want to leave. But you know what I do? I tough it out, do what I got to do. And then at the end of the job, when I invoice them, I'll do one of two things. I'll give them a thumbs up to work with them again. Maybe they just had a bad day. Or if it was really bad, I'll give them the thumbs down so I never have to see them again. Like, you can't be afraid to, quote unquote, fire a client. And I have done that. I have cut ties with clients before because they don't value my time. They don't value what I do, and it's this whole devaluation of the work that is done. And people do it like all over. So that's pretty much why I like my prices where they're at. Like for the area, they're on the higher end. But I attract people that understand the price of good work, So it's like, it just is what it is. It's one of those things. Let me get another drag, man. I did want to talk about HVAC, though. I didn't know if I should have made a YouTube video on this or not. But once again, I'm kind of like stepping away for the time being from actually making content. I'll stream from time to time, and I'll do the podcast, but sitting down editing videos and stuff, I just don't have time. But the big thing, the big ticket with HVAC, I was thinking about this earlier this week, and I just laughed. So I get a lot of views, a lot of comments, a lot of engagement on starting out in the HVAC industry. It's a video that I did years ago when I first started out in my first 90 days, and it's a very polarizing video, but that was me as someone brand new in the industry giving my perspective of what it's like. That's what that whole video was about. But I get people that want to shit talk it. Like, oh, this guy's only been in for 90 days. Look out. He's a master. And it's like, no, I'm not. Whatever. Anyway, so this fucking dude, man. Ryan, man. such a champ. And some of the jobs that we would go on, we would, like, especially in the summertime, we would be at jobs for hours. We would be there forever, because he was very thorough. He was very, very thorough at what he did, and really good too. Not just thorough about making sure everything's set in stone, but just fucking damn good at his job. Definitely took his time on it, but you got to do what you got to do to make sure the customer's happy, and that's exactly what Ryan did. So what we did was we had this job. I think it was in Orange County. It's like not Laguna Niguel. It was between Laguna Niguel and Irvine. Nice community, big ass fucking house. But the thing that stuck out about this job was not so much what we did while we were there, because we were there for about 6-7 hours. Like, we were looking for a leak. Back then. And so we're on this job looking for this leak because the pressures were low. We couldn't fucking figure it out. We're doing reclaiming. We're doing all sorts of shit. But here's the thing, though. The thing that made our job very hard looking for this leak was the guy said that we are not allowed inside the house. So you had another company install your unit, because I guess they got solar. So when they got solar, they also threw on like air conditioning on top of it. So they had another company, but they hired us to fix it because it just wasn't working right. And the guy said you can't go inside the house. And it wasn't like the guy was being a dick. The guy was scared. It was very bizarre. He's like, yeah, my wife doesn't want anyone inside the home. And we're like, well, we do need to see the evaporator coil. Like, we need to get to that part of the unit. And he's like, yeah, I know, but my wife doesn't want anyone other than me, myself, and her daughters in the house. She doesn't want anyone in there. And we're like, well, we can try to find a leak out here, but if we can't find it out here, we're going to have to eventually go inside the house to check it. So we're outside for hours looking for this fucking leak. And it gets to the point where we can't do it anymore, man. Like, we have to, like, we've checked the line outside, we've checked the condenser, we've done pressure tests, and we've reclaimed the old refrigerant, and we don't know where the leak's at. Well, we didn't do a pressure test. Well, we didn't do a line set test, obviously. That's, would have been the next step, but we did everything that we could on this damn thing. So then we go and talk to the dude, and it's like, look, man, we can't find it out here. And we kept having to talk to him and say, hey, turn your air conditioning on, turn it off, like, check this, check that. And, a lot of the stuff we could do on the back end by, with the disconnect box, but fuck, man. And so eventually we had to tell us, dude, like, look, we have to go in. If you want us to fix this unit, we have to look at the evaporator coil. There's not really much else we can do, because we need to be able to do some tests up there. And he's like, well, let me talk to my wife. And so he goes inside, and we're like at the window. The unit's like outside by the living room, so there's a window. This lady, man, she starts like, you could hear, like, it was like as if we were inside. She was so, like, yelling at this guy. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. They need to do what? No, I don't want anyone coming in my house. If they're gonna fix the unit, they have to fix it out there. I don't know why they need to come inside. And he started to explain to her, it's like, well, they told me that part of the unit is upstairs in the attic. And that's kind of, they need to look at that piece of it too. I don't care. It's like, how dare you even ask? You know better than to let anyone in this home. And it's like, I don't know where you come off thinking that you can just let anyone come inside our house and no. And so me and Ryan just like, what the hell is going on, dude? So eventually shit calms down. He comes outside. He's like, all right, well, she agreed to come in, but on one condition. And we're like, yeah, go for it. What's up? And it's like, well, you guys have to look at the floor on your way in. What? It's like, well, I'll direct you guys, but when you guys come in with your tools and everything, you can't look at any other part of the house. You have to look at the floor as you walk in, and I'll kind of tell you guys where to go. What? You want us to essentially blindfold ourselves so we can't see your home or anything like that. It's like, well, the girls are getting ready for bed. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. My wife's in her nightgown and stuff, and it's like, well, have them go to a part of the house where we're not there or whatever. It's like, what the hell? Like, this goes back to the whole thing about clients making shit difficult for the people. Like, you hired us to do a job. We want to do the job for you. But then you give us so many fucking roadblocks to be able to fucking do it properly. It's annoying. All right, Mace, you need to calm down. You're at the park. There's kids outside. Let's get a puff. Let's mellow you out for a second. One more. What is up with clients that do that? We eventually figured it out. End of the story there. But like, really, man, like, why do clients do that? Why do clients get it? Why they don't get it, man? Why do they get like that? Why do they get to the point where you hire someone to do something for you, but instead of letting us actually do it for you, you give us one roadblock after another? Whether you know it or not, you're making our life and our jobs difficult by this shit. But it's like, you can't leave those jobs, It's like, what would have ended up happening was, it's like, we can't go inside. We're not allowed in. Are you sure? Then we can't fix your unit. We're going to have to charge you for the work that we've done without it being fixed. It's like, well, I want you to fix it, and I don't care how much it costs. I just want it fixed. Then we have to come inside. Well, let me talk to my wife. Let me not wear the pants in this relationship. Let me not look my wife in the eye and be like, yo, bitch, chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out. You want air conditioning? It's fucking hot out here. We live in Southern California. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yes, let these fuckers come inside. Let them take care of this shit and be on their merry fucking way. Eventually, they're going to have to come inside anyway. Do you want cold air blowing tonight, or do you want to wait another week? What do you want? But no balls. Less of a man. It's like, I don't have sympathy for guys like that, dude. Like, really, like, you can't get your own household in order. You can't. I'm not saying that you have to fucking rule over your wife with an iron fist. But if she's going to act like that, you got to look her in the eye and be like, you need to chill. We have kids. It is hot out here. It's fucking August. Can we please have some cold air? Is that allowable? Is that okay? Can we do that? All right then, quit fucking bitching. Put your robe on, go into the other fucking room, and let these assholes take care of it. But no, this guy was a timid little shit. This dude had been, like, through some Vietnam level shit in his marriage, okay? Like, holy balls, man. I do not sympathize, empathize, or nothing with that man's scenario. It's fucking hell, man. Moving the fuck on. So my life in general has been pretty good. So, as per usual, if you guys listen to the last podcast, and I am $43,000 worth of debt has been wiped away, or it will be wiped away once it reflects on my credit score. But holy shit, that whole fiasco there with that. So the child support services, they still took my entire tax return, and I talked to them, and I gotta keep on it with them, because they're only supposed to take a fraction of that for what is owed to the state. So they're supposed to take a fraction of that and then send me the rest. So it's gonna be another fucking like a month almost before I fucking finally get that money, which I could fucking use. Do not get me fucking wrong. It's weird. So money wise, we try to be good. We try to be somewhat tight. We don't like really waste our money on stupid shit. But things happen, life happens. So I have a tire it's not flat, but every night it gets damn near flat. So if I'm on call and I have work on TaskRabbit, I gotta go to the gas station by the house. I gotta pump it full of air so it's good for the day. And it's like, that tire's gonna have to be replaced. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That tire needs to just be changed out. So that's going to be like $120 or something. So hopefully this tire in its current condition, if with me just refilling it as I can, check it for a nail. It probably has one. I haven't seen one. I probably should check up underneath it or something for a nail, but I haven't seen anything like that. So I'm not kind of like too stressing about it. It does have a leak, and it's big enough to where overnight like half the air comes out of it. So actually, since I'm in the truck, let me take a gander. That looks like shit. Oh my god. It's like, oh my god, it's bad. It's like it needs air in it like right now. It's that bad. So because I put air in it yesterday, and I haven't had any jobs come in, so I haven't gone out and filled it up now. So we'll see what happens. If it gets really bad where I have no choice, then I'll have to make one cut or another, probably pay my insurance late this month. Something. Because that tire, like, in order to make money, you got to have a tire. I'll check the one in the back, because I do have a spare. At least I'm pretty sure I have a spare. I could always get a can of Fix-A-Flat. I know that so there was this other tasker. You know what? Since we're getting in the nitty gritty, and we're talking about TaskRabbit right now, there's another tasker who I no longer work with because we used to throw jobs to each other all the time. He mainly like would hire me to help him out with shit, but like more so than I had the ability to do with him. He did a lot of off-platform shit, and he helped me out, made quite a bit of money working with him. But there was some shit that happened, work-related between us, to where I just don't work with him anymore. Kind of blocked him out of my life, and I don't really feel bad about it. But there was one day where he got a flat tire in his car, and I kind of drove him around so he could get that fixed. And he did get it fixed eventually, but a lot of them wouldn't just patch it because of the nail or screw or whatever it was that he had hit. So I've already seen that if they see a nail, they're not just going to patch it. So, but these tires I've had on the tires that I have in this truck have been here for a while. So obviously, fuck it, right? Might as well just switch them out, or the one actually. So I'm not too stressed about how I'm going to get that fixed. Just the timeline on it. If it can be good for another week, and provided that I can work within that time frame, if I can work consistently, then yeah, no problem. I'll be able to afford it. So I'm not really stressing about it. So it's just something that's kind of like, it's a pain in the dick. It's like, why does life happen? Fine, let life happen. Let's roll with it. Fuck it. Because you can't stress about like everything in life. You can't let it get the best of you. So yeah, I'm gonna do what I can with it for the time being. But this guy, man, there was an IKEA job. And for those of you that know TaskRabbit, sometimes IKEA jobs you opt into, some of them they are mandatory, where they just send them out to you, and you don't even know about it. What happened was, there was a job, and it was a lot of stuff for $1,000. Just shy of $1,000. It was like $980. That's a big job split between two people, all right? And it was quoted at 30 hours. So I had opted into the job, and I got it. And then they said that he was going to be working with me. And so I, sent him. I did what I do. I sent pictures. I was like, hey, because I was the lead. I was like, here's the job. Here's the place and time. And he's like, oh, cool, yeah, totally, I'm down to do that. Because he didn't know that he got the job. Because when you're not the lead, you don't get the job on your app. You get an email. So he didn't even know that he was even supposed to have the job, because he never opted into it. He was just like auto-assigned. And so there started being issues. Now, he's been on TaskRabbit, I think, for like 8 years, maybe 10 years. He's been on TaskRabbit for a very, very long time, when they started on the East Coast. And they've made changes over the years, and I think some of the newer changes he wasn't very privy to, because mainly he uses TaskRabbit more so for lead generation for clients that he can take off platform than actually doing anything on platform. So in me, I very, very rarely will I exchange information with the client to do stuff off platform. Because I like the ecosystem for the most part. I like to, if there's an issue with payment, that I don't have to stress about it. Because I've told stories, man. I've had multiple issues with clients paying, but because I'm on the platform, the payment will get delayed, but I'll at least get my money. The last thing I want to do is work for someone just for me to do the work and then have them go, okay, well, I'm not going to pay you now. So that's why I choose to stay on platform. It's just easier on my end when it comes to making sure that my money's safe. So anyway, I communicate. I'm the lead on this job. I communicate with this lady, get everything lined up, and he can't do the job because he has another off-platform job at the same time. And so I'm like, well, what the hell are we gonna do? I mean, if you can't go to the job, then I'll just tell him to have you come off of it. He's like, well, no, it's a lot of money, man. I want to do that job. Yeah, hell yeah. But, maybe we could work something out to where with the client so that you could be there during the day. And then when I get done with this job, I can just head over there at night and finish it up. And it's like, talk to the client, and I guess it was only me that they were even aware of. They weren't even aware of another person. And when I tried to explain to the client what was going on, they had said, oh, no, that's, when it's a certain time at night, if you have to come back the next day, that's fine. But, we don't want another person coming in and just working through the night. And, no. So it wasn't going to work. But I finished the whole job, a 30-hour IKEA job I finished in 13 hours. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, it took me 2 days. Split between 2 days. But man, dude, I'm so proud of that. But basically what happened is I was kind of letting them know what was going on with the job from when I got there. And I was like, hey, I did an inventory, and some of the items that are listed aren't actually even here. So I've called support and I made those adjustments. And he got mad at me for it. He started texting me all pissed off and shit. Like, why would you go and negotiate less money? And I'm like, I'm not going to bill them for something that's not on the ticket. If I'm not going to build it, why would I charge them for it? And he's like, it doesn't matter. If we walk in there and it's on the ticket, then that's what they get. And it's like, I'm not going to do that to my clients. I mean, they're already spending a shitload of money. And no, I've made those adjustments. It's just how it is. So he was a little pissed off about that. And it's like, sorry for me for doing the right fucking thing. Which, it's burned me in the past. It has definitely burned me in the past. So, anyway, I talked to support and well, the other guy's not here. I've already started on the job. Can you just, remove him because he's not going to be here? I had met up with him before, and I'm like, look, man, originally it was going to be, I'll go and, I wouldn't say he's a piece of shit. I wouldn't call him a piece of shit. He's just he's very set in stone about making money, which is not a bad thing. It's just that we have different vantage points of it. He'll I don't know. I wouldn't call him a piece of shit. So, what I would say is that he's very business orientated, as am I. But we both have different ways of fulfilling that self goal of running our businesses. So anyway, he had I talked to him look, man, so I mean, I could pay you to not do the job. Basically, we could try to work, this was ahead of time. I was like, we could try to work it out to where you finish this job up and then come and knock out the other half. But he was never able to do that. And I finished the job so quick, I'm like, well, fuck, dude, if I finish the job this fucking fast, why would I pay him for not coming at all? The whole premise was he'll do his job, which he told me originally was going to be done sooner than it actually was, but shit happened, so it wasn't. And his job was taking 2 days. And by the time he finally got done on that job, the inventory was closed, job was done, that was it. So, but it kind of burned that relationship, and he was all pissed off about it afterwards, and he was saying that I owed him money and shit. It's owe you money for what? Not doing a job? So there's no love lost there. And yeah, I feel like an asshole for, even what I should have done in the beginning. It's like, if you're not going to, I should have just been firm. If you're not going to be there at the job, I'm just going to tell them that you're not going to be there. If you can work something out, then cool. But if you have other prearranged shit that's off platform, that's, I'm the lead on this job. I'm not going to switch up anything that I got going on with the client just because it fits better for you. They want it done. They paid for it to get done at this specific time and location and all this shit. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure I can take care of that for you. So, anyway, that's the thing, man. Sometimes people on the platform you work with are really cool. Sometimes they're not so much. And I've worked with some really awesome people. I've worked with some people, like there are some people out here in the Vegas area, they're just fucking assholes. Like there are some taskers, like even aside from that guy, there are some other taskers that I will literally not do jobs because that person's attached to the job, because I just don't want to be around them. I don't want to fuck with them, and that's a great thing about TaskRabbit. That's a great thing about working as an independent contractor in the gig economy, is that we have that ability, So it's like, if you think of TaskRabbit as the platform, even though they're not our employer, let's play make-believe and pretend. TaskRabbit, it's the employer, it's the business, it's work, right? And other taskers in the area are essentially our fellow coworkers. Normally in a normal job, you got to do what you got to do. You got to fucking work with these people, even though you don't like them. In the gig economy, independent contractor, we have the option to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Not anytime today, not anytime tomorrow. I do not like green eggs. Sam, I am. I do not want them here or there. I do not want them anywhere. And that's one thing I love about TaskRabbit. Like, one of the things about TaskRabbit, it's like you're not supposed to do is I guess you can if you want because it's your business or whatever. But there's a certain liability clauses and stuff when it comes to performing work for clients, right? So you would, oh wait, hold on, I just got an alert. Bit of a technical difficulty there. So I got an alert for work. It's a job. I'll accept it in like 15 minutes once I'm done recording the podcast. Small job, and it's not going to be until later on today, so whatevers. I'm just chilling, hanging out now at the Great Mesa Park in beautiful Las fucking Vegas. So here I am doing the thing. Usually this is the part of the podcast where I answer questions about whatever situations that viewers might have. I haven't received any in the comment sections, so there's no life advice for me to really give or get into on anyone's sticky situations. So here I am, just padding for time at this point, right? That's what we do. That's the thing that we do on YouTube now. Anyway, oh man, we were talking about helpers on TaskRabbit. Helpers, man. Yeah, so you're for liability purposes, the other person that's on the job with you has to also be a tasker, also assigned to the same job. That's how that works. So I've had people this was way back when I was young, not younger, when my dollar amount per hour was a lot lower. So my take home was a lot lower, therefore I was cheaper on the platform. And when you're really cheap, a lot of people that gravitate towards your profile, they're cheap as well. So back when I was like making $22 an hour for moving, for example, I would have people hire me that would be like, oh, hey, yeah, we definitely want you to move this. By the way, can you bring someone with you? I'm like, well, you have to hire someone else. Well, I don't want to hire someone else. Can't you just bring another body with you? It's like, you have to go on the whole spiel. For liability purposes, it has to be another person on the platform. It's like, well, that's really expensive. I don't want to pay hourly for 2 fucking people to give me a hand with some stupid shit. That's another thing. There was this company, it was like a telemarketing company that I worked for not too long ago. And I was there for like 8 hours. It was a full day. And I could have been there longer, but I was so wiped. I was so tired because I did so much. Like opening boxes, moving stuff, helping build cubicles, helping build all these fucking chairs. Excuse me. So And that was back when I was at $30 an hour for furniture assembly. I was making a killing on that job. Could have made more, but you know what? I was wiped that day. I was like, I can't do this shit. Everyone hits their fucking limits, dude. So, but yeah, I did 8 hours that day. It was great. And there was 2 other guys there. I built like fucking 50 office chairs in the time it took them to build like 9, because they were like dicking around on their phones and doing this, that, and the other. And I just thought it was funny. But the guy never actually paid. It was a credit card issue, and then it had to be manually paid out. So like $200, just roughly, $200, just a little more than 200. It was like 240 or something like that. It was a big job, and all that fucking money just. I eventually got it, which is why I stay on the platform, because when things like this happen, I can get it fixed. I can be taken care of. So thank God for that. So. But yeah, the thing is about those other guys is that they weren't even taskers. They were just random guys. I don't know if they worked for that particular company. I don't know if they were just some randos that the guy had found and got out there. I don't know. Fucking, it's a weird world that I work in. So, but I guess what I could talk about now. Is something that I'm actually excited to get into. Alright, so nerdy stuff. So I want to talk about something that I want to get into that's not like immediate. It's not like, instant cash grab. Nothing like that. It's kind of like more so long-term investment things. But the whole time I talk about on my channel and my streams and all that stuff about doing whatever you do for a living, if you can do it, make money on it, and enjoy it at the same time, then there you go. That's like your Venn diagram. So right now, I'm going to be getting into something that I can enjoy that will filter in to earning money from it at the same time in the future. Long-term investment type stuff. So I love fucking, here's the thing, it's nerdy, it's dorky, but I'm just going to go with it because, my fan base, y'all are just as equally as nerdy and dorky as me. Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering, man, that's where it's at. And I'm not just like, there's a ton of money to be made there, provided that you understand how the ecosystem works. But me personally, dude, it's like my oldest son loves Pokemon cards, and I enjoy them with him as well. So one of the things that I really want to get into is not so much collecting. Obviously, I think it'd be cool to like have some sort of a collection with him. But more than that is I want to like get cards graded. PSA grades on cards. So the plan right now is to assemble an assortment of Magic cards and an assortment of Pokemon cards. Ones that are actually, when they are graded, that are then worth far more. Like there are loose cards that go for quite a bit of money, but there are certain cards that when they're graded at like PSA 9 or 10, usually a 10 is obviously where the money's at, but once they're graded, then they're worth far more. So that's kind of like what I want to do with my oldest son, is like that links my childhood passion with his current childhood passion, which is Pokemon cards, Pokemon in general, and utilize that to like bridge a way for me and him to spend time together. And then at the same time I can get these cards graded so we have a nice cool little collection, and then when the time is right we can sell these fuckers off and make some money. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying is like that's the long-term part of it. Is I don't really think that there's going to be anything that we're really just going to like buy and hold on to once it's graded. It's the whole premise is to hold on to these things until they spike up in value in the future. So there's a couple Magic cards that let's see. So there's a couple Magic cards that, because Michael's my oldest, he's not really into Magic, but I think when he gets older, like, and he understands the nuances of playing that game, because he's just now figuring out like how Pokemon works, like the trading card game, like actually playing. So I think that as time goes on, he'll gravitate towards Magic. If trading card games is something that he likes, he probably will go over to Magic, and then it's something that me and him can do together. But yeah, he does like Pokemon, but neither of us have any decks, so we pay digitally. He has a bunch of cards. He did have some decks, but him being a kid, he took the decks and sorted them out and put them in different places. So now they're all deconstructed, and it's going to take forever to kind of reassemble them together and stuff. So it's like, what the hell, Mike? But yeah, so that's one thing that we want to do to like kind of like connect with one another. And also I could teach him the value of a dollar through it. I can teach him, like, because that's one of the issues I've had is I gave him an older collection of mine. It was like base set Sun and Moon stuff for Pokemon. And some of the cards he had traded off. Some of the ones that were actually like somewhat valuable, like $8 or more, he had traded off. And the cards he got back weren't nearly worth as much. So I had to kind of break it down to him and like, hey, Mike, you know, they're your cards. You can do whatever you want with them, but I have to let you know that you've kind of lost on this. And, you know, he's starting to kind of understand. He's starting to get it. So I think that by us, like, spending time to, like, picking out the cards that we want, and I could, like, sit down with the finances of it with him. It's like, well, this card is worth this much. But if we assess by, like, what's been sold on eBay for PSA graded cards of that same variation, we could actually get that card graded, and if it comes back as a 10, we could actually make quite a bit of money because people that are, like, long-term collectors, they want that. You know, so I could like that. That's something that's fun. That not only that we can do as father and son that we're into, but I can also use that as a teaching tool for him. You know, looking at like things from a financial standpoint, because that's one of the things. It's like he's gotten money for Christmas and his birthday and stuff, and it's like every time we go anywhere, it's like, well, I've got money, I want to buy this or I want to buy that, and I'm like, no, Michael, you want to save your money up. You want to save it up. Like, put it aside. Don't mess with it. All right, let's not waste money on stuff that, you know. Like, we got Pokemon Sword and Shield coming out at the end of the year. Why don't you save up the money you had from your birthday last year and Christmas? Save that money so that by the time Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out, we could probably hook you up, we'll get you a Switch, and we can get you a copy of the game. There you go, bud. Like, that's something that we could do. So trying to teach him these things of perspective to look into the future and where things could be. That's something I really want to teach him, because when you're a kid, man, your perception of time is like so skewed in such a way. So there's a couple cards that I've got my eye on it's an investment, obviously. So there's a couple cards that I'm looking at. So obviously it wouldn't be any time now, but probably, hopefully by the end of the month, I could set aside like $30 just to get some of these cards that, you know, obviously when they're graded, they'll go up in value. I could probably set aside $30, $40 to get like 3 or 4 cards that are at like the $10 value or something like that. But it's going to be in a mass, so we're going to take our time with it. We're going to kind of build a collection so we can send as many in at one time. And then we get them back, get them graded and all this, like get them back graded and everything, and be like, oh yeah, this is a 10. And we're gonna make YouTube videos together on that, because that's something he also wants to do, is he wants to do YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I think that, yeah, like these are all things that I can do with him, that we can do together. And, you know, I could hook him up, get him his own channel started, or like something. Like, these are things that he's interested in. These are things that I'm interested in. How can I, as a father, take the two things that both of us like doing or totally into, and kind of bridge those into one? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. You know, being a father is you gotta pay attention to your kids, man. And no matter how busy, no matter how hectic life gets, at the end of the day, you got to spend time with your kids. And, you know, with Michael, it's hard because he's 9. His brain's all over the place. So kind of like sitting him down and getting him into something that he is into, and kind of bridging the gap between like something that can propel him forward. So like math, for example. This is a great way to fucking get him improving in math and thinking about math on different levels. You know, because the math that he does in school is like the tedious, fucking repetitive math. And no kid, no 9-year-old likes that. So how do we take something that he doesn't like and incorporate it into something that he does? And then how do I, as a father, utilize all of that as an excuse to kind of spend time, like, you know, well, that I said that wrong. You know, how do I mask him learning something into us just spending time with one another? So that's something that me and him are going to be getting into over the summer, and it's going to be awesome kind of seeing how that goes. You know, because it is something that I think will be really good for the two of us. It gives us something to bond over, something to have a lot of fun with. Let's see the time check on this. All right, so I'm going to be wrapping up the podcast. Obviously, I think I've rambled on enough this week. So, hey, man, questions, comments, anything down below, please hit me with it. Oh, man, I just remembered. Game of Thrones comes on tonight. I'm so excited for the next episode, but man, last week I was like waiting for episode 3. I was like, this is it. This is what we all been waiting for. And I don't want to say it was underwhelming. I thought it was a wonderful episode, but it did hamper my expectations quite a bit. Episode 3. I'm not going to lie about that. It did, but I still enjoyed the episode. I still enjoyed the outcome overall. So tonight we get to kind of see the aftermath of it. And I do not think that Game of Thrones is overrated. I think that Game of Thrones, it's wonderful. I mean, obviously for someone that read the books, obviously I'm a little bit more invested in that universe. Because when you bring something to the silver screen, when you bring something to television, there's going to be changes. There's going to be alterations. And especially with something like Game of Thrones where the books aren't even, like, the source material is not even there anymore. So what do you have to go off of? Just bullet points that George R.R. Martin wrote on a fucking napkin one night? Like, that's basically all they have to go off of at this point. Anyway, as always, I'm your oh so beloved and glorious MaceValor. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are awesome. This is MaceValor, signing off.